Hello, welcome to my channel. This video is the second part to the half full, half empty video I previously posted. I'll put a link to that video at the end. Today I want to cover the first item on my list of 7 events that can change the course of your life. It's a long one, so let's get into it. So about a year and a half ago, I was getting an x-ray done on my hands for my arthritis. My rheumatologist arranged it for me, and basically to see if they can do anything with my hands. I've been working with my hands for 30 some odd years, and the arthritis is quite bad, and 2 of the fingers are quite poorly bent and unable to function on my left hand. So off to the x-ray and the x-ray of the hands. Well, just before we finished, the technician said, they want to do a chest x-ray. Okay, don't know why you want to do a chest x-ray. I'm here to have my hands x-rayed, but that's fine. So off with the shirt, and they do the x-ray, and off I go. A couple days later, I get a phone call from my rheumatologist, and she simply says, you need to go to see your family doctor right away. You have an enlarged heart. And I thought, okay, this is completely out of nowhere. So I made an appointment with my doctor. Went and saw him, and he says, well, yes, you have an enlarged heart. Let's send you out for an echocardiogram. So I now go for an echocardiogram. After that's done, of course, I go back to the doctor again. And my doctor says, well, here's the deal. Your heart output is 30%. He says, but don't panic. Normal heart output is 50%. The heart, when it pumps, does not pump 100% of the blood that's in the heart. It's not like a displacement pump. It works a little different. So basically, blood goes in, blood's pushed out, and he says about 50%. So yeah, you're down to 30%. It's enough to send you to Heart Institute, and we'll go through those motions. But lots of people live for long time at 30%. I'm thinking, okay, well, he doesn't seem to be too worried, and that's it. So eventually I get a phone call and off to the Ottawa Heart Institute, and they do an echocardiogram. Now this would have been about 5 months later. They do an echocardiogram. That would have been in November. After that, I get a phone call saying they want to do another test called a PET scan. And that's scheduled for the 15th of December. Basically 1 month later. Okay, so I show up, sitting in the chair in the hall, and the technician comes out and looks at me and says, wow, you look like you're carrying 20, maybe 25 pounds of water. And I look at her going, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, she says, what's your dry weight? And again, it's like I have no idea what she's talking about. She says, can you even go up a flight of stairs? I said, well, of course I can go up a flight of stairs. All right. So we go in and into the room, and she's showed me the table. Okay, I got to get dressed and set up, and get on the table, and again she makes a comment about, I'm concerned you could have a coronary on the table. And I'm thinking, okay, a little bit too much information, but this is what she's saying. So I'm on the table. They they put you in a machine that looks very much like an MRI machine. And said you're gonna be very uncomfortable. I had to put my arms over my head, and they put me through this machine. And basically my arms and my head and my arms are stuck out the other side, but my chest is firmly inside the machine. And they begin doing this test. And she informs me that they got to do a stress test, and how they do that is they chemically induce my heart to stress my heart so that it of course will beat higher and so forth. Okay, I'm just there for the ride. So, and again she mentions the thing about coronary, and I'm thinking, okay, what, putting the fear of me into me, I guess. But while she's doing the test, she says, oh no, first thing she did, they injected me with the with this chemical to excite my heart and get it pumping faster. And she told me, you're going to be uncomfortable for about 15 minutes. Well, I was already uncomfortable, but I said, okay. She said, you're going to feel very heavy. You won't be able to move your legs, but it'll be, we have another drug to counteract it when it's done, and we'll go from there. I said, okay. So she injects me with this, and during this part of the test, I hear her talking to her partner. It didn't go up very high. There was very little difference. Okay? So then when the test is over, she injects me with the the counteracting drug, and continues on with the test. And at that point, she says to me, where do you live? So I told her where I live. She said, where's the nearest emergency room? So I said, well, it's probably here. Oh, okay. All right. So, test is finally over. Spent 45 minutes on that bed in a very uncomfortable position. Glad it was over. So she essentially helps me up, upright, sitting on the table, and she looks me in the eye, and she says, if you don't feel well for any reason, smallest of reasons, you need to get yourself to emergency. And I looked at her and I went, you mean sit in an emergency room for 15 hours? She said, better sit in an emergency room. At least if you collapse, there'll be someone to pick you up. I I said, have you seen me? Picking me up is not an option. She said, I know, you know what I mean. I said, okay. So then she says, are you connected to MyChart? And I just learned about this. MyChart is a website where the doctors and so forth, they all keep track of your appointments and, you know, your tests and so forth. And I said, yes, I think I am. She said, well, all the results will be on MyChart for you to look over. I said, okay, thank you very much. Off we went. So I get home, and whether it was the next day, I go on MyChart, and I come across the test. Now, you know, as you're reading this, you know, and of course with what she said, you know, it was like clearly not good. She was saying words like severe global hypokinesis. The word cardiomyography came much later. And talked about the output of the left ventricle, which is the large section of your heart on the left-hand side. And another thing I learned is the left-hand side of your heart is what pumps the blood from your body to your body. The right side of the heart is much smaller, and that pumps blood from your lungs back to your lungs. You know, and the reason for that, for those that want to be in the know, is that the lungs can't handle the pressure from the left side of the heart. So they, of course, have, that's why the right side of the heart is smaller. Yeah, learned something. Anyway, the output of the left ventricle showed to be 20%. And of course, right there, that was a little bit disconcerting, because 5 months earlier, no, I guess it'd be 6 months. 6 months earlier, I had the echocardiogram. You know, I had the echocardiogram the month before, but I didn't get the results from that. You know, but 6 months earlier, I had the first echocardiogram, and it showed me at 30%. And now this test, which seemed to be very, very elaborate, is showing me at 20%. So naturally, you have a tendency to be a little bit alarmed. And as I'm reading farther on with the the results from the test, they come across the point where, you know, they injected me with the chemical to excite my heart, you know, and then they do the test again, and apparently the heart rate only went up, the output only went up to 24%. And that is where she said, well, didn't go up very high. So meaning when the reaction was, you know, only went from 20% to 24%. You know, and she literally made that comment. And of course that's, you know, and it's in the report. We injected it, you know, the difference of the heart only went up 4%. Summary, very severe global hypokinesis and that sort of stuff. So you're reading this, and of course the first thing you want to do, and the first thing you do is Google. You get on Google and you start Googling this. And when you Google it, you find out people with a heart output of 20% have a mortality rate of 74% in 3 years. Basically, layman's term, I took that as a 20% output of my heart. I got a 74% chance that I won't be alive 3 years from now. And that was enough to put the fear of God in me. So you start making decisions. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm 63, 2 years away from retirement. 2 years. That only gives me 2 years after that. What kind of condition am I going to be in 2 years? Am I going to get to enjoy any of these next 4 years? And the last thing I want to do is go to work every day for those first 2 years. So I go to my doctor again, and I tell him that I'm not going back to work, and I need a doctor's note, and he complies. I go to my rheumatologist, and I tell him that I need a doctor's report about my arthritis and my psoriatic arthritis and the use of my hands, and I don't want to go back to work, and he complies. And I'm trying to contact the Heart Institute so that I can see the cardiologist. And when I finally get through to someone, they say, oh, you're scheduled for an appointment in March. And I'm thinking, March? This is December. And this test is telling me my heart output has dropped in 6 months, has dropped 10%. So I'm thinking, it's dropped 10% in 6 months. What's it going to drop in another 6 months? And now I'm looking at almost three months before I even see the cardiologist. Welcome to Canada. So I plead my case, and they actually get me in to see the cardiologist. I think it was the 15th of February. A month early. You know, I mean, she tried to contact the doctor and so forth, and essentially the word I got back was, don't worry, everything will be fine. Really. So meanwhile, I'm doing the procedure of not going back to work. I've informed them that, you know, I have a problem, I have a medical issue, illness, and you know, I will not be returning. So I go on unemployment, you know, and I'm wondering when are they going to start the procedure for long term. I've got these 2 doctor's notes, and you know, and meanwhile I'm waiting to see the cardiologist. So, and my last day of work, I believe, was, I think, the 9th of February, by the time I actually got the last day. And then I saw the doctor on the 15th. You know. Now, I told my family over Christmas, you know, I showed them the test results, showed them all the information that you get from Google. And I know the first thing you're thinking is, like, don't believe everything you hear from Google. You know, and yes, there's some truth in that. But I informed my family that I'm no longer going to work. You know, that I have this illness, and you know, it doesn't have a good outcome. So my sister offers to come with me to the appointment with the cardiologist. So that's fine. She said maybe two years, you know, or better than one, you know, and I might be able to decipher what he has to say. Fine. So I've stopped work on the 9th of February. I have an appointment on the 15th of February, and we finally go and we see this cardiologist, and he informs me that the PET scan is not as accurate on the heart output as the echocardiogram. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, really? He said, you had an echocardiogram last month. I said, yes, I did. What was the output of that? So he looks it up. 30.1 or 30.6%. 30.6%. You know, he said it's 30.6%. I said, well, why is a PET scan, which seems to be a much more elaborate test, why does it say I'm only at 20%? Well, there are other parts of the test that we consider more important, and at this point we don't see a difference in your heart output from the first echocardiogram to this one. We'll schedule for another echocardiogram a year from now. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? You know, and I said, I've got doctor's notes, I'm not going back, I've stopped going to work, and I need a letter from you to tell work that I'm also, you know, not going to back to work. And he gave me a letter. It was pretty vague, to tell you the truth, but he did give me a letter. And so I go home and I start the procedure of being disabled. You know, unemployment has to pay. You get paid by unemployment for the first, 120 days, which I still didn't understand. It wasn't informed all that. Unfortunately, I had an accident the year before on my motorcycle, busted my ankle. I was on unemployment for 6 weeks. 6 weeks, and so when I reapplied for unemployment this time, they just opened the old case, but there was a problem, and I didn't see money for several months. Anyway, that's getting into more semantics and more, but the point is, a year goes by of me being off. I rode my motorcycle a lot. I tried to ride the bike to get exercise. I went to the Heart Institute and did their program, walking around their track, and I tried to do everything that they wanted me to do. And then basically off for that year. Now a year goes by, and I have the next echocardiogram on the 11th of November, and I go in to have that done, and of course I get the results right away because now I'm on my chart, and the heart output now, a year later, on the echocardiogram has dropped from 30.6 to 24.8. Dropped like 6%. And now we're not talking the PET scan, we're talking the echocardiogram. Now this was quite a surprise, because I actually thought I was improving. So this was pretty much a blow that told me that, okay, you don't have a lot of time left. Your time now is measured in years. So you got to make a decision what you're going to do. And I decided right then and there, my lifestyle was not sufficient to enjoy for the next 4 years, and I needed to do something that was going to be worthwhile. Now, I'd always been planning on going to Thailand when I retired at 65. I did a lot of research. I'll talk a lot about that in another video, but essentially I just made the decision. It's like, okay, you're going. You're going now. As soon as you can, you're going. And, well, started that process. And here we are. 5.5 months later. As you can see, I'm on my bicycle, riding. Again, on the coming videos, I will talk more about my health. I'm going to talk more about my history. And of course, I want to show you all these beautiful sights of Thailand. And I've basically documented the last 5.5 months of being here in Thailand. And I'm going to share that with you. And we'll go from there. As you know, the name of my YouTube video channel is Retired, Don't Give Up. And of course now, after you've heard this bit of the story, you understand the don't give up thing. At any rate, if you have any comments, please leave them down below. I will take time to answer any questions you have. And if you find this anything of interest, you know, please subscribe and hit that bell. And we will continue on with the next few videos. I have probably between 30 and 40 videos that I have footage on. So lots to come in the next 6 months. Bye for now.